that was already observed? How will I bridge the gaps of the women, as you said, in Parliament? One, I would want to advocate for gender-based violence, because women are faced with a lot of challenges back here. You get to realize that our mothers are playing the role of staying in the kitchen, and they're not actually being given the platform. Grassroots women also be brought on board. By minimizing gender-based violence, this calls upon all the men, our fathers out there, to value our mothers by not battering women. So if I went to Parliament, I would want to table that on the floor of Parliament, that women are the mothers of the nation, and women are supposed to be respected. So their rights are not supposed to be violated. That is what I will do.
Thank you very much. If I'm to react on the question you asked, the strategies that we use to advocate for women's rights in Parliament. First of all, before I answer that question, allow me to appreciate in a very special way the NRM government for putting on across a level platform women emancipation. As you all see today, women have been put in a platform that has cemented them in the pillars of national development of this country. Categorically, clearly, women are voicing more than, and evidence is in our land. So that today we have the Vice President as a woman, we have the Speaker of Parliament as a woman, and we have the Prime Minister as a woman. All those are the attributions of the NRM government putting in affirmative action for women emancipation. However, there are still existing gaps among the women, including education gaps and health gaps. If given the platform and the mandate, I will mandatory play my key role of legislation and representing the voices of women in the floor of Parliament by addressing their concerns respectively and seeing how solutions are provided. Sarah Inachu, being a student,
candidate Sarah, address
is education. There is still high rates of childbirth and women dropouts. I would advocate for a comprehensive platform to see how sensitization will be improvised to the girl child and women in Soroti City. And with the background that I was a government student who went on government scholarship, I will also advocate for scholarship for children and girls who are really suffering here in Soroti while in the floor of Parliament. There is still a challenge of health here in Soroti, and we all see how voicing up the issue of Soroti Referral Hospital is a challenge. But if given the mandate, surely I will advocate for the apprehension and rehabilitation of health here in Soroti by putting on board a very well-equipped, fully facilitated health hospital.
And putting in mind that you are the incumbent, there are also issues of accountability. Apart from telling us what you will do, because you've been in Parliament since 2021. How does cross-party collaboration strengthen the push for gender?
Thank you very much, Bwana Moderator. Cross-party collaboration, first of all, is a collaboration that puts all the interests of everybody, including women, youth, and men. It doesn't just deal with one party, and in that we must first attend to the budgetary and interests of the citizens in the whole ahead of the party divisions. As we budget for these best analyzed people, gaps that need to be addressed. when the cross-party collaboration is one of the strongest engines that are behind gender-responsive legislation. You realize that in Parliament, we have had groups and associations and women organizations that come to push for gender-responsive legislation. One of them in the umbrella of women in Parliament is UOPA, the Uganda Women Parliamentary Associations, when we get into any gender-responsive legislation, we sit as a team of women in Parliament, talk about this activity, and then get into the team to try and convince able men and responsible men who are ready to support the women in this agenda. We have also collaborated with women in different organizations. When you talk of WIONET, that is the Uganda Women Network, these are all advocating for the budgetary increment and participation on the women responsive legislation. These umbrellas cross-party collaboration.
Thank you.
Collaborative body that deals with all gender activities. When we rise up, when one woman rises up on a health maternal matter, you realize that all women come in and support that woman. We do not boo at fellow women. Women encourage their fellow women on the floor of Parliament. As WOPA, we have managed to encourage and strengthen women. Even at my age, we encourage the women. We have moved bills on gender-based situations, gender-responsive legislation. We have pushed on bills on health. When you realize that a logo has woken up and spoken on this, it's not a mandate that any other woman should dispute. You realize that when I stood up on the justice for our young girl who was battered in SOROTI here, a whole system of women in Parliament stood up and supported the idea. That is what we call UOPA, FORWARDE, and WIONET. All
Thank you.
And supported.
Thank you.
One, being a member of Parliament, you are not only going to advocate for the rights of women. When you're in Parliament, you are advocating for the rights of every Ugandan. So when you talk about being in a committee, because in committees, these are these are areas where matters are discussed, scrutinized in depth before they go to the main house. So meaning, if I am a member of a committee that is responsible for gender issues, I will advocate for policies that favor the rights of women. When you look at the way women are treated, especially the widows are very, very vulnerable people. They are mistreated once their spouses pass on. So meaning that we need inclusiveness in the laws, in the bills that we make, that protects this woman who has lost their husband. Number two, we have women who are working in offices. But remember, a woman remains a woman. A woman is a mother. That is why we are called mothers to the nation, because we give birth to life. This baby who remains at home, we have seen in several occasions, babies are battered by the house helpers, by the house managers, when the mother is not aware. And if we, the mothers, when we go to Parliament, if tomorrow you give me the mandate to go to Parliament, I will advocate for the law that protects this baby here. These babies need to be put in a special place, such that when the mother is legislating, this baby is secured. Such that when the mother is in the office doing work for this nation, the baby is protected.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
In regards to the girl child, there are so many children, the girls especially, who have attempted to drop up to school, but we have engaged them in several occasions, and we put them in a training of we have put them in the skilling hub, whereby they have attained the skill to make them move on as
the people who were almost dropping out of school.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, moderator, once more. Focusing on budgeting and looking forward to the women. What I'll do if I'm given the mandate to represent my dear people of Soroti is I would advocate on the floor of Parliament that during the budgeting process, the women are not women should be budgeted for in a way that during the allocation of the national cake, women through the, should I proceed, groups like WEP should be, more funding should be given to such groups, such that women are empowered.
Towards majorly two categories here in Soroti, and that is the youth and the women. I would therefore be that voice that lobbies for the people of Soroti City, particularly the women, by ensuring that there is proportionate allocation of those resources to suit or to be disseminated, to be acquired by the women of Soroti City to support their groups, and particularly women in the market, women who are in business, and women who have small circles. I would also fight to advocate for the youth, because these are the projects that surely fight idleness and enable our youth to gain and obtain quality life. Majorly, those are the two areas that are...
Because it seems... Thank you very much, Madam Moderator. In the first place, we all know that agriculture has been the backbone for Uganda from time memorial, and Uganda has been the food basket for many of our East Africa and Central Africa regions. It's actually something that is ongoing. I am pleased to inform you that we are actually handling the issue and advocating that government removes or completely reduces taxes on women, especially the low-income women communities, to provide for incentives to empower them as we move, we lift them out of the poverty level in Uganda. We have also, when you look at the PDM money, in that PDM, we made sure we advocated that women must get at least 30% of the whole PDM money. So this 30% is basically to uplift a common woman who is living under the level of the highest poverty. Even if this woman is practicing agriculture, this 30% has been awarded to these women, and they are able to use this money to ensure that they practice the agriculture. One of the most things we are actually advocating for as women is also to ensure that the modern irrigation schemes come down to the communities where we are practicing agriculture. And we all know that women will be able to use this water vis-a-vis the rainfed water that comes once in a while. So the irrigation schemes is underway. Whatever we are planning is actually, I am very glad for this question because it is underway. It is something within our committee of our national economy and infrastructure. We're actually handling this, that women should be able, the irrigation scheme specifically, to ensure that we manage to handle.
But also there has been providing this irrigation scheme. Uganda is a very rich country. We have water, and for that reason, enough water. In the last sitting when we had in our committee, we actually realized that Uganda has enough money, and it is our push to ensure that
Uganda and the government ensure that each and local low-income person gets the irrigation scheme. We are actually pushing for the lowest or a free irrigation line that passes along those areas where these gardens are going to be situated. And I'm very sure we pay a lot of taxes, and that is why we are advocating for a give back to the community that cannot afford this money. The taxes we pay should be able to be used to ensure that this irrigation scheme reaches to the lowest person on ground.
Thank you so much. We go for medication.
Thank you very much, moderator. First of all, I would like to inform the audience that women are the most vulnerable people, and we are too many. Women hold a big number in this country, and I am equally a candidate of the main hospital. We have always moved there, but the situation in the main hospital is not okay. It is alarming. When you look at the labor suit for women, you cannot want to be there. Me, when tomorrow I go to parliament, when I become a member of parliament, number one, issues of women must be addressed in health, because that is where it starts from. We have had so many women die in labor suits. We have had so many children die during the delivery, just because of lack of certain equipments in the labor suit. So me, as a member of parliament, I will advocate for more money to be put in the health sector to cater for both women and men. Just because when we all fall sick, we all go to the hospital and we desire the good treatment, quality treatment from our hospitals. Most of us pay taxes, but when you see what is in the hospital, it's not what we deserve. So therefore, government should refocus and look at the hospital, look at the health sector on how it can be improved. So for me, I will be advocating for a higher budget for the health sector.
Thank you. Where I would do that would be firstly to come down to the local person and actually understand the needs on ground. As a woman MP for Soroti City, it would mean since I'm standing for these women in parliament and I want their needs to be put in the budget while allocating for the resources. That means I will come and interact with the chairpersons that are responsible for women in the various wards in the city and see what needs that the women in the various parts of the city have, and ensure that while advocating for their issues to be put maybe more money, I know what is actually on ground. Because if I just say for health I would want this to be allocated, or for business, without first of all interacting with them, then it would be hard for me to advocate with the knowledge of what is on ground. So that's why I would just work with the people and then advocate for more money to be allocated to women depending on the problems that we have. If it's education, maybe more scholarships. If it's health, more money for health facilities. If it's business, more money for business. If it's agriculture, then more money for agriculture. So thank you.
The same question. How will we ensure that the budgeting process focuses on specific needs of women?
Thank you very much. As earlier on highlighted in the previous submission, I will still carry on my role as a legislator. And indeed, if I'm mandated to legislate, and points out the challenges address women in the form of parliament. But this can be very effective after scrutinizing those key challenges, those key problems that affect our people, such that by the time we go to represent their issues in Parliament,